Thank you for that, Charles. Line 3, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
Hello, Tommy. My name is Professor Stephen Hawking. Science is a search for truth. Yet despite man's best efforts, the universe is still replete with mystery. There is, however, one thing we can be certain of. And that is that you love Timmy Mallet. Oh, yes, you do.
That's good.
I love Timmy Mallet.
Yeah, that was good. That was very
Tommy
good.
and Timmy, sitting in a tree. Kissing. That's all I have to say except to leave you with this one final piece of wisdom. Remember, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And in my case, stairs. Thank you and good night.
That's very good. Yeah. I enjoyed that. That's the best one tonight so far, definitely. That one gets the prize, the car, and a holiday in one of those those singles hotels in the Caribbean.
He is funny, that Stephen Hawking.
He's my man. Going back to what we were saying, that was a great call. That was funny. What was that punchline? You have nothing to fear except fear itself. Except in my case, also spears.
No, stairs.
Oh,
stairs.
Stairs.
Yeah.
See, that's funnier. I heard spears. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, well, that's quite funny.
That's quite funny. In fact, anything could be funny. You know, Stephen Hawking. Good one. That was a really quality comedy. I hope Stephen Hawking's not upset. Don't really care. Line 5, Richard. Line 5. He's going, I love them both as men, but not, no, the other way around. I love them both as broadcasters. No, actually, I love Mike Dickin as a broadcaster, but not as a man. I don't love Timmy Mallet in any capacity. I mean, who does? I mean, how come Timmy Mallet? I don't get it.
It's parrot.
How can it be? Some things are just all wrong. Timmy Mallet, Keith Chegwin, another one. Line 2. They've got it covered on Talksport, they have. I've got an email from Stuart Lill in Grimsby, but I'm not sure whether it's for real. You're a good judge of these things, Ash. Yeah. I don't like to kick the corpse, which is religion, on phone-in radio, because it inevitably gets up and starts staggering into the, into the
arena
furniture. But he emails. A couple of weeks ago, you began an unprovoked attack on people who believe the truth in God's word and Jesus Christ. Blah, 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 blah. The only truth is, and I'm sorry it's a fact, blah, 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 blah. And you dare to even try to justify homosexuality. I'm not even going to start on how disgusting and unnatural that kind of dirty practice is. That's somebody not starting on it. Then he goes on, Leviticus 18:22 clearly states, you've got to remember, this is the rule book. If it says that, that's it. Yeah. No point thinking. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, they pick and choose.
States, no man is to have sexual relations with another man. God hates that. Well, that's not what it says in Leviticus. I mean, they don't say things like that in Leviticus, do they?
Well,
so
no,
this is a spoof.
No. Also, I mean, a lot is lost in the English. People take the literal translation, but it wasn't in English, was it?
No.
And over the years, that's been, the English has even changed.
Absolutely. 08700 4056. No, I don't think that was a genuine one. So that's good.
Ancient Greek and ancient sort of Hebrew and stuff.
Yes. I'm glad you helped me form.
But it sounds real, that.
No.
No, I mean, it's from a person who believes that, it's not a spoof email. I mean,
they are in Grimsby.
Yeah, exactly.
08700 40 50 60.
All that gas, fish gas.
Oh, fish gas. Sing while you're fishing. We never know who's going to be there. Let's go to line 5. You're on Talksport, line 5.
Hello again, Tommy. This is Professor Stephen Hawking.
Yes.
My colleagues and I are trying to find a unified theory of everything. One simple equation to fully describe how the universe functions. While this is important work, there is another equally pressing question for which I seek an answer. The question is, can I pleasure your wife? I theorize that I can. Although, to be honest, she would have to do most of the work. But I guarantee she will love it. She sounds like a right old goer. I must remember to wear my lobster bib. Anyway, while I anticipate our encounter, let me leave you with my thought for the week. People say one danger of time travel is going back in time and accidentally killing your own grandfather before your father was conceived, thereby erasing yourself from history. But I say, why be so negative? There's an equal chance that you might kill Jeremy Beadle's grandfather instead. So always look on the bright side of life. Thank you and good night.
This guy's good.
He's very good, man.
This guy's good. That was a 10. That's his second 10 in a row.
That's very good.
He's in the final.
Of course, Bavin
take
is
a-
coming in.
He's the man who discovered Jeremy Beadle.
If he could have, prevented Bavin.
And I was thinking about that when I was having a wee. Bavin's coming in, and he's the man who discovered Jeremy Beadle on British local radio 25 years ago. And so that's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's good, that guy.
Yeah, he's very good.
That guy's very good. Because I know you do that computer program. You have to
Phonetic,
write in pauses.
Oh,
And he actually puts in the right amount of pause for comic effect.
timing, yeah.
It's paragraph, 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 paragraph to give you a second, and he does it. And that's good script.
Very nice.
Not quite as funny as You Have Nothing to Fear but Fear itself, except in my case, stairs. But it was still, very good. Because he thought of the ending first. That's the secret of comedy. You've got to think of the ending first. I should know. I used to write for Bernard Manning. Why anybody does what they do. Do you know anybody who does what they do for a living that they're not doing for the living? No. So broadcasters are the same. Anyway, Andy emails Tommy, why is it that every time someone does something that is different from your style of presenting, you slag it off? Didn't... Like what else, mate? Huh? What else? Email me back. What else? So why is it, you say, why is it, this is lazy, sunshine, whoever you are. You say, why is it every time someone does something that's different from your style of presenting, you say, oh, name me one other time. So it's lazy. So you felt uncomfortable because I was giving a professional broadcaster a hard time? That's your problem. You don't like discomfort. Discomfort's fine from time to time. He adds, have you seen Talksport's rating? Yes, I have. Thank you very much indeed for reminding me. Ha ha.
What were they saying the other day? And it was a Chinese proverb about a noble man or a wise man. It's a wiser man or something. Do you remember it?
No. I come out with them from time to time, so I don't know which one you're talking about.
It was something, a wiser man or a nobler man.
A man's nobility is judged not by how much more noble he is than other men, but how much more noble he is than the man he used to be, is a good one.
That was the one.
That's a good one.
That's 100%, isn't it? That's very clever, that.
That's all we can do. Be better
Right.
than we used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, now why doesn't everyone do that? And we'd all be saying, wouldn't we?
Well, let's both get on with it, you and me, and see whether we can do it, and if we can do it, then we can tell other people to do it. Perhaps satellite television or LBC, another radio channel, will furnish you with a more fulfillment, Tommy? I don't know. No, they fired me. They literally said to me, can you be more boring? I really tried. But they said, this isn't working, is it? So, no. So onwards again and upwards. I'll get to the... Or you can email the show, talksport.net. John's in Camden. Welcome to the show, John.
Yeah, is your wife a sexy bitch?
Yes, very much so. I was only thinking that today when I met her from the bus. She went in to do the shopping. Yes, fella, in answer to your question, yes, with brass knobs on. She is what you said. Thank you for the inquiry. I'll tell her you asked. To present baseball on Channel 5, but soon disappeared from the show. Your absence was never explained. What happened? Did you not enjoy the hours? Actually, no, I didn't enjoy the hours. I signed up to do it for the baseball season, but then the baseball season got extended for reasons I can't remember. The mysteries of baseball. And I wasn't really up to working right the way through the night, and then going on to do on telly, and then go on to do radio work in the afternoon. It was killing me. Not killing me. It was just very, very, very tiring. And so I turned up for one show and was genuinely unwell. Food poisoning, awful. I remember I was so weak I couldn't pick up a piece of paper. So just before the show went on air, I said, look, I can't do it, guys. And they booked me into a hotel around the corner, and I woke up the next morning, not too bad. I went home and agreed that was that. Wouldn't do any more of it. And they got somebody else in. But interestingly enough, they didn't say. And you know, that does happen in broadcasting. People don't know how to say what's happened. I don't know why. I I understand it to a certain point. It's a bit, I don't know. There's just certain things people don't want to talk about. And when people move on to other jobs of work, their colleagues at the radio station or TV station where they used to be aren't quite sure what to say about it. Is it embarrassing? Would it embarrass him or the management, so he won't say anything? Or, just press on. But that only increases people's curiosity. So that's the truth there. Nothing exciting there, Dougie Mack in Glasgow, but thank you very much indeed for your email.
Okay, come
Well,
on.
there are kids in it. But where aren't there kids in anything?
Well, you know.
There's kids in everything. There's kids in the Bible. That's spooky.
Okay.
How about that? All right, you want to be spooked? The Bible.
Don't shout.
They do 4 different versions.
Spook people quietly.
They do 4 different...
Go on.
Jesus is resurrected 4 different ways in the Bible. I was reading Ludovic Kennedy on why there isn't a God today.
All right.
I didn't know this. Each of the prophets, you know, the geezers, John Nutt,
Yes.
they all report the resurrection differently. How can that be?
Journalists for you.
Journalists for you. Good. I've never nicked another man's woman. I don't think. I did go out with a married woman once, but she was already out of love with her husband. Is that all right? I'm asking Robin here. I don't know why.
Depends on your moral stance.
Oh, she was gorgeous. That's all that really mattered.
That's all that mattered.
I was 23. I was driven by hormones. You have to expel... Try it, Robin. I'll teach you how to do it. First, we have to expel most of the air from your lungs.
Right.
And then... Do you have lovely telephone conversations with people?
Not enough emphasis on it. No. Have to work on that through the night.
Okay.
Right, what is this? 3 points I want to make. Right.
Oh, yeah.
First one about capital punishment. Right, if it is premeditated murder, and somebody they've got the proof and the admission of the people, they should bring back capital punishment and hang the buggers on it. That's what I think anyway. Right? The second point is about all these murderers that have been convicted and they're in prison. Why should we have to pay out of our tax that we pay for working out to keep them in prison?
What are you so bothered about this for? Who have you known who's been murdered then? What's it to you?
What is it?
What's it to you? What's it to your life? Hey, what's ever happened to you then that makes you want to do this?
Well, this is just wrong. People, respectable people.
What's it to you? I'm asking. You've read stuff in the paper, but what's it to you?
This is just my point of view. This is.
Yeah, but what's it to you in your life? What's it ever had? Have you ever been touched by murder?
No.
Well then, mind your own business then.
Well, this is a shoutback program, is it?
What?
This is a shoutback program. Shout at your guests, is it? Hello.
Stick to the point.
Well, it doesn't.
What do you ring up a phone-in program? And look, have you ever heard a phone-in program before?
Yes.
Have you ever heard a phone-in program where somebody didn't come out with this kind of stuff that you're coming out with now?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm what you're coming out with.
No, you have no. I'm a one-off.
I'm just ringing to put my point over. That's all I'm doing.
Who cares?
Right.
Well, look, wait a minute. If you got an opinion, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be based on something, hasn't it?
Right. Right. Forget about the murder one. Why should?
What do you mean? Forget about it then. What do you mean? Forget about it. You got these poisonous views, and as soon as somebody says, "Oh yes,"
all right,
tell me a bit about that. Then you go, "Oh well, no, all right, forget about that." Then you will have people dangling and gasping and flippity-gibbeting their last seconds on Earth, possibly innocent people, which has happened plenty of times in the past. You think that's all right, but as soon as somebody says, "Well, would you like to just explain that a bit further?" It's, "Oh well, no, never mind. Let's move on." That's not good enough, mate, is it? What is it? It's not good enough. What is it?
It is good enough.
It's not good enough.
The crack is, if you murder somebody, you premeditated murder, right? You shot them, there's proof you've admitted it. Why should we pay to keep you in prison? Hello?
The helicopter's still going round. It's much more interesting. It's much more interesting than the likes of you.
Yeah, well, you answer my question, and why should we pay? And you?
Who's we? Who's we?
You pay your taxes. I pay
Who's
your taxes.
we?
Me and you.
Yeah, I'm proud.
Right. So
I'm proud of. Look, let's be clear about one thing, right? You don't know anything about what you're talking about.
And you do.
Yes.
What's it? Judge what is it?
What?
Judge what did you say about your name was?
What do you want about?
Your Honour, what is it, Your Honour?
What are you on about now?
I'm saying, Judge what? What's your name?
What do you mean, what's my name?
You know everything
What do you want
about
my
it, you
name
said.
for?
You said you know everything about it, don't you?
Yeah, I've been touched by murder.
Yeah, well, how's that then?
3 people I've known have been murdered.
Yeah, so, and you think it's right? If they've been murdered,
You're not interested in
Do you
any-
think it's right?
You're not interested, are you? You're one of these people you don't have any interest in whoever you're talking to.
But you think it's right that the people who murdered your friends or your people you know...
You don't know anything about them. You're not even going to ask because you're not interested.
We should keep them in prison and pay for them, shall we?
But I think the biggest tragedy that I'm hearing about in this conversation is that I'm reminded once again that there are people who just don't give a hoot about anybody else, and you don't. Otherwise, you'd want to know. If I was you and somebody said, yeah, I've known 3 people who was murdered, my first question would be, really, that's interesting, tell me what happened. But you don't give a toss. You're not bothered.
I don't want to go into details.
You don't give a damn. You don't give a damn. You just want your British bulldog view. Oh, hang on, that's me. I'm a man, right? Who wants another pint? Not good enough, mate. Not good enough at all.
Bollocks.
Bollocks? He's off. Right, saw him off. But you can't just blimey. If I had £1 for every time somebody had rung me up and said, I'd hang them, I would, I'd have, £6. No, you know what I'm saying. 08700 40 50 60. He's back on the radio now. There you go, pal. There you go. I'm not a very good lorry driver, and you're not a very good arguer. Facts, 08701 59 69 79. I think it's important that people spend as much of their time as close to their own lives as possible. And anything that gets us thinking about absolute strangers and issues which are both remote from ourselves and which we cannot influence ourselves discernibly at all is unhealthy. And that's politics for you, isn't it, really? Because politics doesn't really affect what happens to you. Not very much. You've got much more freedom you have to influence your own life and your own state of happiness than any politician who's around now or ever will be around. And it's important that you recognise that first. And when you've accomplished all you need to within your own heart and mind, then you can start bothering about London's transport system. Or whether or not we need to raise the community charge in order to be able to fund our libraries better, then you can bother about that.
Okay, well, I mean, that's quite a negative view.
Cobblers, it isn't negative.
But it's
utterly, and it's nothing but positive, totally and utterly positive. If you can't see that,
negative view of politicians.
You weren't listening. If you can't see that, you weren't listening. If you can't see the glory in what I've said, you're really not paying attention.
What I'm trying to get to is that I reckon that there's a positive view to voting in that even if you're cynical about what politicians have, what in ways politicians can affect your lives, which a lot of people are, and I understand the reasoning behind it, it's still a necessity to do it just because of the potential that politicians could affect your lives in an adverse way.
That's clumsy stuff and very muddled and very naive.
Well, it's not really. If you look back in history, there's plenty of opportunities where there haven't been democracies, and there have been people in charge who've just been causing havoc and misery around their citizens.
Now, you're very young, aren't you?
I don't see why that's relevant. I'm 21. I voted several times.
Yes. Well, you shouldn't have done. You've been wasting your time there, and you've been encouraging other people to think they're important.
It's not a question of feeling important, it's a question of preserving some form of democracy.
Well, now, let me just take you up on that. What's so damn good about democracy? There are, as you will discover when you get older, an enormous number of people who shouldn't have the vote. And they can vote in politicians who, quite frankly, you wouldn't want in the same room as you as human beings, and they usually do. Hitler was elected democratically. Mussolini was elected democratically, but of course you knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were both elected democratically, but they both didn't have much controls over them and not much...
Anyway. That's the beauty of democracy. Your little
It's a
system.
flaw. It's a flaw of democracy. Democracy isn't perfect in any way. I'm not saying that at all. Sorry?
Sorry yourself. Carry on.
Democracy isn't perfect. I know democracy isn't perfect. Haider got through in Austria as well, not where his party did anyway.
But wait a second. Look. What I'm saying is, when you're your age, you spend an awful lot of time desperately wanting other people to realise how good you are and how much you care and how much energy and enthusiasm you have for reform and righting wrongs. That's normal.
Patronising.
That's it. Well, I'm sorry, Sunshine. It's just the truth. Sorry, it's the truth.
Well, I've heard you say this sort of thing before, and I understand that obviously when I'm older, maybe I'll understand more about responsibilities of different things.
You'll see things differently. That's not to say better, but you will see things differently. The point is this: I've been where you are. You've got where I am now to come. There's nothing you can do about that.
But I don't see how it helps not to vote. How does that help anybody?
It's not a question of not voting. It's a question of making sure, before you go out of your house and want to influence other people, which is what you do when you vote, you yourself are absolutely satisfied that you've got yourself right. If we concentrated on that, each and every single one of us, we wouldn't need politicians at all. We wouldn't need a police force. We wouldn't need a judiciary, would we? But we do.
But it's because of those things, because of all the situations that do exist, because we don't live in a perfect world, that we need to take interest in the institutions which are supposedly helping to govern us.
No one's saying we shouldn't take an interest in them and an awareness of them, have an awareness of them. But my point is this: we must try to establish a proper perspective on what really matters. And what matters to you, my friend, should be you. And if you've got it all right within yourself, if you've done the same amount of work on yourself that you're prepared to do about whatever issues it is that bother you, whether it's democracy, or whether it's the transport system, or whatever. If you've done the same amount of work on yourself to get yourself right, to choose who to be rather than to have it delivered to you by the accident of your genes and your parents and the things that happened to you when you were a child and the things that are happening to you now, if you can climb above all that and really eradicate that which is detrimental and irrelevant, and this is very difficult, my friend. This thing I'm talking about here is extremely difficult, and it may be that you haven't even thought about doing it yet. It may be. But that has to be done first, because if we can't run ourselves as individuals properly, who are we to decide who else ought to be running other people's lives? If we can't run a family, if we can't have proper relationships with people. Most people have terribly fractured, fragmented relationships with other people, and yet they're going out and voting and choosing other people to run other people's lives, but they can't run their own. This is what we need to think about. This is what should be the issue of the day, every day,
But
all day long.
the two things don't cancel each other out. Obviously, what you're saying is very important. What I'm saying is this is another aspect, and if people looked into that aspect as well, more
No,
so.
it doesn't happen simultaneously. And again, you will see this. It doesn't happen simultaneously. You have to get yourself sorted out completely, or as completely as you can, before you start to try to influence the world. First, because it's a priority, and because you can't influence the world right until you've influenced yourself right.
Right. I'm still not convinced. I don't see how anybody can ever get to that stage.
I don't expect you to. You know what you think's important, and you want other people to know how much you care and how wonderful the world would be if you were running it. And
No, I don't want to run the world. That's not true.
no, I know, but you know what I mean here. I think you know what I mean here, and we're very impressed. And we're very sorry that the world isn't in a better shape that you're coming into. But we're all doing our bit. And that ain't voting.
Okay.
Good luck.
All right. See you. Bye.
Have a pleasant journey. 087... Here's that website I promised a wee while ago from the American chap who emailed earlier, Stan Rothschild. It's www, grab a pen, .users, USERS, uswest.net, /. Then what's the word for that squiggly thing? I can never remember. Robin, it's the sort of thing Robin knows. A QWERTY.
A tiled, I believe.
A tiled. We know what we're talking about here. It looks like a...
Yes, it's above.
Well, it looks like Mr. Henke, the Christmas poo, actually. Doesn't it? Tapered at one end and tapered at the other end and slightly curved.
Yes, it's above the...
Looks like a poo.
Next to the enter button, above the shift button.
That's the Johnny. And then the final bit is SROTHSCHILD. Very famous name, Rothschild. Born in poverty, the Rothschild family. They lived in a city in Austria where the poor were corralled into one of 4 ghettos. And because the poor couldn't read or write, they had to designate each of the ghettos by using a symbol. So they painted a shield and put it up outside the entrance to each of the ghettos. And there was a blue shield and a green shield and a yellow shield and a red shield. And that was where his family were brought up in poverty. And hence they took the name of the shield above the gate, which was the entrance to their ghetto, which was the Red Shield or Rothschild, which, rags to riches story. 08700 40 50 60 60. Line 1, you're live on Talksport. Hi.
Tommy?
Speaking.
Tommy and Timmy. We're wide awake. Mallet's mallet. You get a bounce on the head like that, or a one like this.
Are you all right? Do you need someone to come over?
Word association gear mustn't pause.
You're pausing a lot though, aren't you?
Timmy.
Does it get any better than this?
Mallet's mallet.
See, this is exactly what I was on about when I was saying that democracy's fundamental flaw is the fact that there are so many nincompoops who can vote and do, because the nincompoops are the ones who go out to vote. In a number of London wards, 4 out of 5 people who could vote didn't. They're the bright ones. They are. I've never met, I don't know anybody who votes. I haven't got anybody in my social circle who votes. Old people vote. It's a day out for them. It just suits them nicely. They can do the shopping, have a cup of coffee, they can go and vote, and feel as though they're influencing the world.
But they can't play mallet's mallet.
No. How did you vote the last election?
With the mallet.
Yeah. It's women, isn't it, with you? You can't get a woman, can you?
Mallet.
And it's starting to annoy you, isn't it? Got rid of him. No trouble at all. But he'll still be voting at the next election, you see. He'll be influencing your life. He could influence the future of the planet. Supposing the next election is won by one vote, and it's a nutter who's got his finger on the button, and it's that bloke there who gets to decide whether we have the nutter or not. And he votes, and we get the nutter, and the nutter nukes Afghanistan. And the rest, of course, is horrible. See my point? That wouldn't happen in China, where they don't have democracy. They've got a much wiser system. 08700 40 50 60.
Delahunty should win. I don't know. Well, I'm talking about the delay between being on the radio and digital TV.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's about a 10-minute delay.
Because I tell you what.
Yeah.
I really got. I was working at a tennis tournament called the Stella.
Yeah.
And Sporting Index rang me up.
Right.
And they said, what is the gap between the event and your television pictures.
Yeah.
And I said, it's a millisecond, I think. And they said, can you find out? Seriously. So I said, all right. Because what they tried doing was betting ball by ball.
Right.
And some bloke, apparently there on the end of a line in Bangkok, was being uncannily good.
Yeah.
All right. So they were checking that it wasn't a delayed transmission. Because not long ago, this used to happen quite a lot, and quite a lot of bookies got stung.
Yeah.
The BBC very often used to show a sporting event as live.
Yeah.
But in fact, it could be 5, 7, and on one occasion, 15 minutes
behind.
Late. You're behind. Yeah. Because there was a US Open golf tournament at which the finalists were Greg Norman, Larry Mize, and one other geezer.
Yeah.
And a chap in Reigate phoned his stockbroker friend in Long Island, and they talked about a deal. And so then the English guy said to the American, and who do you think's going to win the playoff between these three guys? And the American went, you're joking? And he went, no. He said, you're joking? Larry Mize, I'm looking at Larry Mize on the TV now. He is holding the trophy. So the English guy went, thanks, bye. Phoned his bookie. He said, you know this playoff that's about to take place? And the bookie went, yeah. He said, what price is Larry Mize? He said, oh, he's the outsider of the three. We've got him at 7-2. He said, I'll have 20 grand.
I'll take him, yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Line 1, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
Good evening. I'd like to talk about drugs. How drugs are no good for anybody, and they mask the pain of a society that's gone askew. Things like ecstasy, marijuana, and I think drug lawmakers should be very careful about what drugs they legalise.
Well, of course, plenty of drugs are legal.
You mean like alcohol and cigarettes?
Well, I mean, have you had a cup of tea today?
No.
Why not?
I don't drink tea, only herbal tea.
Blimey. Okay.
Herbal tea's got fruit in it.
Well,
Fruit's a drug.
Yeah.
No, fruit is not a drug.
Why do you need any flavour at all?
Well, there's a good flavour which is okay,
No,
and then
why do you need any flavour to your life? Why don't you just drink water, warm or cold?
I drink plenty of water. Water is very good for you. But
yes, that's the point I was making. But so my point is this, and I'm interested in your answer. Why do you need to jazz up the flavour of the water that you drink?
Well, you don't need to. You can just drink plain water. That's the best drink for you.
Oh, jeez. Why do you then jazz up the flavour of the water that you drink sometimes? Now, you can't actually evade this question now, surely.
Well, most of the time I don't. Most of the time I just
you
drink
are going
water.
to evade the question.
No, I'm not going to evade the question.
Why do you sometimes jazz up the water that you drink? It's a simple question, and if you can't
You are trying to evade the question because I'm talking about drugs, and you are getting off drugs and going onto water.
No, whenever anybody makes a point, this is something I do. Whenever anybody makes a point about other people, I ask them whether they're ready to cast stones.
It's not a question of casting stones. It's a question of people's health, mentally and physically. And you are evading a question about drugs.
I have not been asked a question, Petal.
Yes, well, I'm asking you the question. Do you think that lawmakers are justified in making things legal which are very harmful for people? And I would say they're not. Do you think they're justified?
It's not a very good question.
Well, it might not be a good question in your eyes, but for somebody like Paul Betts, it's a very good question.
The point is, it's not a very well-worded question.
Well, maybe I
would suggest to you that you should probably try something stronger than herbal tea, because it might help you condense your thinking a little bit.
Well, let me tell you something, that herbal tea and water are very good for the brain. Just because that's your sort of interpretation doesn't mean that your interpretation is valid.
Yeah, but you rang my show, baby. I didn't ring yours.
Well, you're the one who's been sarcastic, and you can't even talk about a question as serious as drugs, can you?
I am talking about a question that's as serious as drugs.
You're talking about water
I'm talking about something that's
tea.
much more serious than drugs.
What,
I'm
water?
talking about two things. I'm talking about life, how we all try to make the best of it by making it as best for us as we can. And what I'm most interested in is intolerance.
Let me tell you, there's nothing intolerant about a person whose mind is so screwed up by drugs that a person can't have a life if their mind is screwed up by drugs.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your intolerance.
It's got nothing to do with intolerance. Many doctors, would you call doctors...
Is your name Chris?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I told you never to ring me again.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did. Well, I'm telling you now.
Well, because you can't have a good argument, because you lose an argument, so you have to be a bully.
I don't think I've lost the argument.
You have lost the argument.
Well, in what way have I lost it? I'm getting bored again with you now.
Well, would you say that...
The problem that you have is that you cannot actually engage.
You can't engage.
You came on
You have to be a bully.
You came, but if I may, your attitude when you arrived on air, right, was somebody getting off their stool, pounding their gloves, and wanting to get in the first shot. You're aggressive.
Really? Well, would you say that doctors are intolerant when they talk about the dangers of drugs, and judges who have to sit on a bench when somebody has committed crime under the influence of marijuana?
Why are you so angry?
Well, why are you such
She's obviously high on herbal tea.
What's happened to you in your life that's made you so angry about other people?
What's happened to you in your life that's made you so much a liberal and not care about other people?
Well, I'm afraid if I can just draw you back to what you've just said, I think you'll find, if I were a liberal, I think you would find that at the core of liberal thinking is nothing more or less than a care for mankind.
No, let me tell you, liberals don't care about anybody.
Is that right?
That's absolutely right.
How did you vote at the last election?
I didn't.
Why not?
Because I considered that there was nobody to vote for, because they're all liberal, whether they're blue, yellow or red. They're all liberals, and that's the state of our country today.
Can I just ask you not to call again?
Because you can't win an argument founded on common sense. You either have to be sarcastic or be a bully.
If you can't answer a simple question about your own life, if you don't understand your own life at all...
You can't...
No, can I finish my point? If you're not prepared to look at something that you do and wonder why you do it, and help yourself identify why it is that you do things that you don't actually physically have to do in order to remain alive, because you want to make your life a little bit better than merely sustaining it and breathing and drinking water and eating bread, which you do because at times you pleasure yourself.
This is semantics.
Can I
you are using semantics.
No, darling,
You've
I'm not.
lost an argument. Don't call me darling.
Well, can you not ring me again because you sadden me?
Well, because you can't win an argument logically through rational thinking, so you have to be sarcastic and a bully, because you haven't got the logical rationale to win an argument against drugs. Shall I tell you why? Because there is no argument. So you have to try and bully me in order to be on top, as it were.
Yeah, okay. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Terrible woman. Just imagine, I mean, really, seriously, imagine, how do you end up like that?
Long-term herbal tea abuse.
You know what I mean about Ash? He does it in one sentence. 08700 40 50 60 is the number. You're tuned to Talksport. Too many. Oh, here's an email from George Sandamas in London. Tommy, you're such an arrogant twit. You think you are a philosopher and you attempt to use Socratic methods. However, Socrates listened and used logic and reason to argue. You, my friend, bully, browbeat and posture. You have the technology at your fingertips to control those who contradict your narrow position. Be a man and be humble. Listen to others. Surely your penis cannot be that small. It is.
Yeah. What do you think he's doing it for? Fun?
It's like a light switch. I can't find it. I could say some other jokes, things that are true, but I won't. What's the big deal there? I don't think, George, if you stop to think about it, there is anywhere else in the media where people can get on with what they want to say and do. I haven't cut anybody off, never will, and allow anybody to say what they want to say, as long as I always say it's clean and lawful. Graham, can I...
Yeah, line 1, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
Good evening, Tommy.
Hey!
Today I was going to talk to you about quantum theory, but then I thought, no, that's boring. I think I'll just sing you a song. Oh, baby, baby, how was I supposed to know that something wasn't right here? Oh, baby, baby, I shouldn't have let you go. And now you're out of sight, yeah. Show me how you wanted to be. Tell me, babe, because I need to know now. Oh, because my loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I
I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby, the reason I beat is you. Boy, you got me blinded. Oh, bitchy, baby, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. That's not the way I landed. Show me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, because I need to know now. Oh, because my loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. How was I supposed to know? Oh, bitchy, baby, I shouldn't have let you go. I must confess that my loneliness is killing me now. Don't you know I still believe that you will be here and give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. My loneliness is killing me, and I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. I must confess that my loneliness is killing me now. Don't you know? I still believe that you will be here and give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Very good. Stephen Hawking sings Hit Me Baby One More Time after the fashion of Britney Spears. Too pertinent, friend. I don't know who that kid is, but he's good.
Could have chopped it down a bit.
Well, I was going to say, normally we allow 30 seconds for performances on the Human Zoo, but that is Stephen Hawking.
That's what I thought.
That's the Stephen Hawking kid, and he's good. He's good.
He is.
He's going to end up with his own show. He's going to be Chris Evans or somebody in about 10 years' time.
Yeah.
And just hope he pays us something for it.
Well, he's an eminent physicist.
Oh, Stephen Hawking is... he knows his stuff, and he's so talented in so many genres.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.